Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on the 2-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because since my last video, we actually broke down from this falling wedge pattern, activating this price target of about 78K in the Bitcoin price. So far, we saw about a 2% dump to the downside since breaking out from this rising wedge pattern. However, since then, we are now actually retesting the point of the breakout, or we are, of course, about to invalidate this pattern once again, which would be if we basically get candle closes above the point of the breakout, or basically just back inside this pattern once again. Therefore, the next couple hours are going to be critical for this pattern here, because, for example, if we now reject from this ascending trend line once again, it means that we are still targeting 78K in the Bitcoin price. And of course, if we invalidate it, then we need to cross off this price target. Besides that, taking a look at the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, in yesterday's video, we were basically just trading right above this descending trend line. And like I said in yesterday's video, I was a little bit suspicious of this breakout here because basically we are seeing decreasing volume on what should be a bullish breakout, and therefore it just makes me much more skeptical whenever I see that. And besides that, we also have the FOMC meeting tomorrow, which is also going to cause a lot of chop and volatility in the market, especially on the lower time frames here, guys. So make sure you understand what time the FOMC meeting actually is tomorrow. And I highly recommend using the website Forex Factory for that. They are not a sponsor, but honestly, this is where you need to be looking for whatever macro event you are trying to take a look at. For example, 7 p.m. my time tomorrow is going to be the FOMC meeting. And I know that around this time, I will be extra cautious when leverage trading because there is going to be a lot of volatility in the market. And before I get questions about this, on Forex Factory, you don't need to create an account, and also you don't need to pay for anything. So this is just a free website that you can use. Go ahead and check that out. Besides that, we should also be taking a look at the Fibonacci levels on the 1-day time frame. Currently, we're trading right below this 0.236 Fibonacci level, sitting at around 84.6K in the Bitcoin price. So we should expect there to be some resistance on the 1-day time frame around this area here. And this is, of course, the resistance that we have been facing over the last couple of days as well. If we were to now break above this level, likely we are heading up to this descending trend line on the 1-day time frame, which should again be acting as some resistance, where the most bullish case is, of course, that we break that descending line of resistance, because then we are finally breaking this massive downtrend that we have been in for a very long time at this point. Something that might help us break it here is actually this bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which is whenever we have lower lows in the Bitcoin price and higher lows in the RSI momentum indicator, typically pointing towards us getting a break from all of this bearish price action that we have been seeing here recently, either in the form of some choppy sideways price action or potentially some bullish momentum on that 1-day time frame. And of course, for quite some time at this point, we have been looking at this descending trend line on the 1-day time frame as well, where right now we are getting very close to actually breaking either to the upside or to the downside. And in my personal opinion, I think it is very likely that whichever way we are breaking is going to be the next big move for Bitcoin, especially if we are breaking it to the upside. I think that is likely going to cause a bigger move to the upside for Bitcoin as well. Whereas if we break to the downside, we might just be forming some kind of new bullish divergence somewhere further down the line, and then actually breaking the descending trend line a little bit later on in life. Either way, it will likely cause some bearish momentum if we actually invalidate this bullish divergence. So that is something to watch out for on this daily time frame for now. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. First of all, on this 2-week time frame, right now, most of the liquidity is to the upside around this 85K level. However, there's also liquidity to the downside around the 80,000 US dollar level. So on the high time frame, we do have liquidity to the upside and to the downside. However, most of the liquidity is to the upside. And on this 3-day time frame, we see a bit of a different story. Yes, we do have both liquidity to the upside and to the downside. However, there are actually some decent pockets of liquidity to the downside here. For example, again, around that 80.8K level, 81K level, roughly speaking, and the 85K level once again. However, there is also a decent amount of short-term liquidity building up just around this 84,000 US dollar level in the Bitcoin price. So we might end up sweeping that in the short term. And as always, guys, whenever we are taking out a big pocket of liquidity like this, whether it is in the short term or a long-term pocket of liquidity, always be on the lookout for a potential reversal from that exact pocket of liquidity, because we see this over and over again in the charts, guys. For example, right here, we dump to the downside, sweep all of this short-term liquidity, reverse from there, sweep a bunch of liquidity to the upside, reverse from there. So more liquidity starts piling up to the upside here once again. And therefore, we should be cautious when we take out a big level of liquidity. For example, like we might do tomorrow during or after the FOMC meeting. Next, let's move on to the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. On Monday, we actually saw a massive net inflow of about $270 million into the Bitcoin ETFs in a single day here, which is great news for the Bitcoin ETFs, because we have seen nothing but massive outflows here for weeks at this point, with like some very tiny inflows or just a bit of a break from the outflows every single day. However, now this is actually the first time that we are seeing a big inflow in recent times. So do these ETF investors actually know something about what is going to happen during FOMC tomorrow, or are they just placing a bet? That remains to be seen. Of course, nothing I say in my videos is financial advice. So I'm just here sharing my analysis of the charts, and you can do with that information what you like. Either way, this has been today's market update. Make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you do not miss any of these important update videos. But regardless, if you do end up subscribing or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.